All right, I believe we are live. I'm just gonna always take a few seconds to go and check it out. Hold on, let me refresh this. And we are live. There we go. We are indeed live. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna leave this here, and we are just gonna welcome anyone who's watching, listening. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mel right here. We got Ted, one of our X Factor marketing superstars. Ted, how old are you?
24 this year.
24! Oh my god, when I first met you, you were 23. When's your birthday?
July.
July. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, start with July. So, you turned 24 already. You're no longer a young man. No, it's just a joke. You are still very young. So, you're 24 this year. Could you just let everyone know before we dive in? What do
Yeah.
you do? Like, what would you say you basically do? And how was it like? No, see, I think it's a very interesting story. When I first met you, when did I first met you? Feb, March, right? I think I met you about somewhere around March, right? When
Yeah.
I met you in March, what was life like compared to now? And what would you say you do? Come, let's tell some story.
Back in March, I just left my job. So I was just starting an agency model with a small team, with an intern. So a lot of cold calling, a lot of sales calls, a lot of just trying to make ends meet.
How much were you making back then? Like, how much would you say you made back?
Oh, very, very bad. I
Roughly how
think
much?
it was
Like, how bad is bad?
3 to 5K a month.
3 to 5K. But that's revenue. That's not take home.
Yeah, I have an intern to pay.
Oh, geez. So, I mean, you take home, that would be about what? 2 to 3K. That wasn't a
Two
lot.
plus. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was where you started. You were also in school, right? Are you still in school? Like, what is happening?
No, bro. No, I quit. I quit already.
You quit. Oh, so fantastic. You quit school. So you started out, that was when you're year two, right? Year two in SMU or year one?
So I ended as I completed year one in SMU. Then I took a 1.5 years break, a gap,
Okay.
and then after that I quit.
Okay, cool. So when you're year one in SMU, you finished. That was when you kind of started the business, right? And then it was cold calling, just busy trying to hustle, and wasn't making a lot of money, making just about about enough to take home about 2 or 3 grand a month, which
Yeah.
I mean it's not fantastic, but it's not that bad as a young man. But at the same time, that was what happened. Then what the heck happened? I mean, right now, I mean, as best as you can describe, what would you say a good month is for you now?
A good month would be 20, 30.
20, 30. Wow, that's
Yeah.
10 times more.
Yeah.
Oh man. And that was like a year ago till now. That is pretty
Yeah.
phenomenal. Oh man,
Yeah.
fuck, man. That's pretty good. So in one sentence, 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say you do? Like essentially like people ask you, 10 years, what do you do? What would you say you do?
So I help coaches grow and scale their business with mainly marketing and sales. So I help them with this method, which I'll share in this webinar, this live video. It's called religion conversion method.
Religion conversion method. Okay, so you basically help these folks scale. What are some of the results, right? Just so we can set the context properly, that people aren't listening to some shit you create in your cave. Has there actually been results from this fucking method? Like just like highlight at least 2 or 3 kind of results, so people know, like, all right, this is not full shit. Like, what kind of results?
Okay.
Before, after.
So yeah. Right now we are serving like a very small group of clients. All of them have breakthroughs from even during COVID. So one of them, they went from 20K a month to 200K. Another one went from like a 7-figure, like barely, just scraping the surface, to I think right now double in size.
Wow.
Another one went, so recently he just made 1 mil in a few weeks. 1 mil in a few weeks. Yeah. So these are some of the results.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is pretty incredible. And the only thing that made the difference was this fucking religion conversion method. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's start. What is this thing? How did you learn it? And let's get into mechanics. So let's start on the bigger level, right? How did you find out about this religion conversion method, and who should use this? So how about you explain? What is this? How do you find about it? Who should use it?
Okay, I'll start with who should use it. Mainly if you are in a space where there's a lot of competition, it's very saturated, this will be helpful for you. If you just launch a new product which no one has seen before, or if there's not much competitors, probably not the best. So how did I discover it?
So hold on.
Interestingly,
So this is for people that are in a very competitive market, not really for startup people, competitive market, need to stand out. This is the method. Okay, cool. So how did you discover this?
Okay, so I think you haven't heard this story. So I actually discovered it in past few months lah. So after attending your class, so I think our 3 days class. On the first day, something weird happened, and then that was the start of it. First, something weird happened.
Okay.
So on day one, I was going back home. I was taking the MRT. So before I even joined the class, right? So Zach actually recommended me to join. Before that, I was very skeptical.
Yeah.
By then I've attended a lot of courses, so I was thinking, why should I attend another marketing course? But nonetheless, I just attended. Yeah, and like I said, day one it was really weird, but at the same time, very interesting as well. So day one, I attended a class on the way back home in MRT. Mentally, I was calculating in my head. I was like ready to buy an upsell from at the back.
Oh, okay. Whatever I was selling. Oh, wow, really? Okay. There was nothing on sale at the end of day one. Like nothing.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So that's something like that's very unique. That's a weird feeling to have, because day one there was no pitch, there was nothing. But mentally in my head, I was ready to park aside a sum of money to buy whatever you have to sell at the back.
Okay. I never heard this story before. Okay. Then go on.
Yeah. So in my head, I was mentally shifting my funds around my bank account, because a sum of capital was in my Think or Swim account.
Okay.
So I was mentally shifting my funds. Then okay, I said I will do this, and okay, I've parked aside a sum of money, ready to invest. At whatever you have or Joe has to offer at the back. So that was something weird, because like the day one, I didn't even know you had something, but
there was no pitch at all. I was just teaching, and then it was kind of interesting. You immediately went, I want to buy into whatever this guy has to sell, even though there's nothing for sale. That's pretty interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So of course I invested. It was not the amount I expected, but the whole process was surprisingly easy. Even though the amount at that point of time for me was not small.
Yeah.
But the jump, as in the step moving forward, was surprisingly easy, even though it's not a small sum for my side at that point of time. So that was I realized something weird, because for me to invest that amount of money is a bit weird, at least at the point of time. So that's like the first thing I realized. Something is not right. Something is weird. So that's number one. So I was trying to find out why I had that feeling, like day one I already wanted to buy, even though I didn't know you had something to sell.
Yeah.
So from then on, I was like trying to find out, what was it that caused me to have that strong desire to buy something, even though I didn't even know that product exists or not.
Yeah.
Then I started reading. Then I realized there's this thing called. So I find of course, I find stuff, and I call it religion conversion method.
Cool.
I'm gonna bring up another example, right?
Sure.
To make it more relevant and also understandable. What is it about? So a few weeks ago, I was watching this show called Surviving Death on Netflix. So this show was talking about people that had near-death experience. That means they were supposedly clinically dead, but for somehow they were resuscitated, they came back to life, etc. So this group of people, while they were clinically dead, on the bed or hospital bed, a lot of them witnessed like seeing lights, seeing figures. They had like out of body experiences. They seen people talking to them even though they're like dead. So this show was basically about that. But that's not the part that interests me. What the part that intrigued me was that a lot of them, after that experience, they became completely different persons. So, for example, atheists, there were a group atheists, they started to become very religious.
Yeah.
Those who
I've heard of that before.
Heard that, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there were people who just happy-go-lucky. Suddenly they behave very differently around their friends, their family. People start saying that they behave not normal or very, very differently.
Yeah.
So how did these people go from or what caused this extreme change? Because I believe that something was also something related to what how come I had an extreme change instead? I was ready to buy something, even though I didn't know I had that product. So that's what I realized. I fine-tuned, tested out with my clients. Then I came across, then I finalized, fine-tuned it, tweaked it, and I call it religion conversion method because it's a thing that makes people go to extreme extents to either buy something, travel across the world to get to do something.
Yeah. Cool. Then let's dive in. Very interesting story. By the way, guys, if you are watching right now, could you comment below? Let me know that you guys are watching. We have Darius. Darius is paying attention. We have Thomas. We have Seong Boon, Sing Hong, Rayson. A few folks here actively watching us. So if you guys are watching, please comment below. Let us know that you are indeed watching and paying attention to this. Okay, so very quickly, what is the religion conversion method? Guide us through the principles, then let's guide us through the execution of it.
Okay, so the main idea of the religion conversion method stems from these few things, these few concepts. It's mainly about beliefs and perception. So in a case of, let's say, religion, right? If let's say a Christian, okay, I don't get too religious down here, but let's say a Christian, right? Why would someone go to extremes of attending church every Sunday, fasting on certain days, etc. Usually, what causes extreme changes happen right at the start. It's not what happened a few days back, but it's actually what happened at the start, and it's about the what I call the religion conversion method. So it's all about beliefs. It's all about perceptions. So in the case of let's say the example that I shared with you, this Netflix show, Surviving Death, right? So whether or not these people actually, or whether or not there was actually lights when they were clinically dead, or whether or not there are like people talking to them, might not necessarily be true, might not necessarily be facts. But the idea here is that they believe it. The idea here is that they believe it. They think it's real. So whether or not it's real or not doesn't matter. But the most important thing is they believe it. So how is this relevant? How does this apply to, say, coaches or people in a crowded space? So to pierce through a very competitive, saturated market, it's all about bringing them to a new belief system. So let's say okay. Let me share why I invested in your program.
Sure.
Okay, so last time, how I learned marketing is all about finding customer avatars.
Yeah.
About finding customer avatars. Dream customer avatars. What does it look like? How old is this person? Income range, yada yada yada. And then he brought up the example of, how do you know this person exists? That was like a very fundamental truth of marketing. Coming up with customer avatars. This is like a very, very fundamental truth of very, very basic stuff, right? Yeah. So I think in the class you basically broke it and said, what if this person that you dreamed up of didn't exist, right? And then you moved on to saying that the best way to do it is look at people who bought from you. They pay you a lot of money, and find people like them outside. These are your best customers.
Yeah.
So I think to use it in today's climate, or how to apply it, basically it's you have to identify like core beliefs, very strong beliefs of your prospects, ethically tear it down, and bring them into your new religion or new belief. Yeah, because once they believe it, they buy into your religion, they buy into your beliefs. Basically, anything they have to offer them or talk to them about a certain topic, certain product, they will buy in all the way, because no one else has that kind of beliefs.
Very nice.
So
Very
that was yeah. So how to apply it? Okay, I think there's many ways of applying it. I don't think there is just one way. I think there's many ways. So the first way is, of course, like the fundamental truths of something. If, let's say, I strongly believe that the earth is round, and someone comes to me and convinces me that the earth is flat, then basically I will follow whatever he says about the earth in the future. So that's the fundamental truths. I think second one is about problems. So this I learned from other causes lah. But basically it's about, let's say in the market, people pay coaches or service providers to solve certain problems. Let's say in the market, they only want to solve problem A, B, and C, for example, right? They pay money to solve problem A, B, and C. and that's the only reason why people pay money for. To stand out, the ideal the way of doing it would be saying that, I would be convincing them that actually A, B, and C is not the real problem that you are facing, or you're looking at the wrong places. You should be looking at problem D, which no one else is talking about. And so when you convince them that D is actually the real problem, or something that they have missed out or they are not focusing on, and once you convince them that and you present an offer that solves D, right? Oh man, you hit the sweet spot. Yeah,
Got it.
and
Got it.
yeah, yeah. So that, I think that is number two. Second way of applying it. I think the third way is, I think the list is non-exhaustive, but I think right now in my mind I only have three ways. So the third way is how an offer should be structured. So for example, let's say you're selling coaching program courses, right? One way of changing a person's belief is saying that, okay, most courses out there are structured this way. That's why nobody is successful after buying all these courses. So I mean, of course, like all these have to be beliefs that people have, lah, right? About courses, it's always recorded. It's always in a recorded format. Yada yada yada. And then when you shoot it down, you say, yeah, actually agree. Courses shouldn't be this way. Courses should have these three elements. Then you present your offer with these three elements, and boom, the close is pretty easily made.
Yeah. Before we
Yeah.
carry on, hey guys, if you're watching, could you identify yourself? I really hate ghosters. So please give Ted a shout out. Okay, let us know that you're watching. Okay, let us know you are watching. Ted, we will not review anymore till people start identifying themselves. Okay, and if you feel free to share, please share. Okay, let's give a Ted, before we carry on, we need to make the people work a little bit. But right now, even if they wanted to hire you, you have a wait list, right? You're just not really
Yeah.
fucking taking brand new people right now. Is that the situation? Just let the people know that's not what you're doing right now. You fucking are not even at the point where you're even I'm so proud. When I first met you last year, I mean, you were just like me. We attend the same fucking university, and then I could see a rebel. Even you and I don't you don't swear as much as I do, but I could see a rebel, somebody that wanted to quit school, and that was what I endlessly did. And I kept saying, like, you should drop out of school, etc. I don't know if that's a wise choice. I'm happy that 1 year later you're making 10 times the amount of money, and frankly, your entrepreneurship journey is a lot smoother than me, because when I quit school, I went from $2,000 to fucking $800, and lived near the poverty line for a long time. But you're making 30 grand, 20, 30 grand. I think that's fucking fantastic. That is really good. So guys, please comment below. Give Ted a shout out. Don't be fucking ghosting over there. But even if this people want to hire you, you have enough clients, yeah. As of now.
Yeah. Right now it's completely packed. Completely packed. We don't have any. We don't want to take in anymore. Also. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, even if you wanted to hire Ted, he's not available for sale. So you have to get on the wait list. If anyone drops out, then you can find Ted. So we have an in-demand X Factor superstar right here. So Ted, I really love the idea that you mentioned. I want to add in a little bit of my own take there, because I never actually thought of it this way. I think what I attempt to do actually in X Factor, many of the Facebook lives that I do, is actually I've been I've been doing this a long time, and sometimes I need to take some of the things that I do naturally and kind of break it down, because I didn't know I was doing any of that, right? I was just sharing openly, but now that you mention it, I can see how you came up with that conclusion. So let me see. I think this happens a lot of the time. Is that what we do in terms of beliefs, right? I think there are different ways to alter a person's their beliefs. And I want to highlight first and foremost for everybody watching the strong ethical nature of this. I strongly believe in doing this in an ethical, sustainable manner, because the difference between, let's say, a leader, a cult leader, and let's say just a leader in general. A leader's goal is to govern and contain and really communicate the beliefs, right? A cult leader and let's say a good leader, they both are in the nature of communicating beliefs, but a cult leader does so in a way that kind of sets up the beliefs where it's win-lose, right? A good leader sets up a situation where it's win-win, where everybody wins. And I think the moral, ethical nature of this must not be de-emphasized it is really, really important. I think that one's absolutely critical for folks to understand. I think beliefs can be altered in several ways. I think the first thing, I think what makes your method so powerful is that beliefs are malleable, right? There's no such thing as a concrete belief. A long time ago, when Galileo's time was around, people believed that the sun rotated around the Earth. That was their belief, and basically Galileo had to take a huge leap of faith in order to convince people that the Earth moved around the sun, not the sun around the Earth. One of the great beliefs that we have now that is kind of touchy is the alien belief. There are some people that believe that they are aliens, and I will not venture into that, but I just want people to know there seems to be a lot of planets, so it needs to be mathematically infinitely impossible for all these planets not to have at least one other motherfucker around. So that's my belief, because there seems to be vast number of quantities of planets, but it cannot just be one human race. But some people believe strongly against that. They believe that we are the superior race. So that is a belief right there. I believe even that majority of wars are fought over beliefs. Would you say that's fair, Ted? Right?
Yeah.
My religion is better than your religion. We had a guy in a headdress fighting your guy nailed to the cross, and fighting your guy that descended from the sky, fighting your guy that rose from the earth. It was like, and the funny thing is that none of these people fighting have ever seen any of these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a hilarious thing. It's like, guys, I want to ask the question: has anyone of you seen these people before? No, but we believe it's true. Okay. You see, right? So that's a fascinating thing. Is like that, and people will go to the ends of the earth to defend
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
beliefs. Monogamy is a belief. Polygamy is a belief. Free love is a belief. Being a monk is a belief. So therefore, I think we need to zero back and discover how the fuck people develop beliefs. Like, what are your thoughts? How do people develop beliefs? Like, first and foremost, and because the moment we know how they discover beliefs and develop beliefs, then we can see how we can adjust and shift their beliefs. How do you think people develop beliefs and you know?
I think beliefs are mainly adopted when, like, okay, usually I think it's the norm. For example, like it's normal to, I don't know, to date a person of the opposite sex, for example. It's a norm.
Well, I like to think so. If you're straight, okay, versus date
Yeah,
an animal or someone of the same sex, yeah.
yeah. So mainly I think it's like based on just pure observations. This is a norm. This is a norm. I think that's one way. Another way is of course through like your upbringing. I mean, depending on what kind of beliefs you're talking about, but let's say money, topic of money, right? Some people have certain beliefs about money. You cannot be rich, or it takes a lot of hard work to be rich. You have to work for money. So these kind of people, they will not uh, explore into like passive incomes,
Yeah.
investing, stocks, that kind of things. So I think this is one way. Another way which I fall trapped is like all those causes, uh, especially very basic level stuff, content. All these are okay. Not say that it's basic, but I think it's a very fundamental, like, and I think especially if it's a logical way of thinking about stuff, and there is no reason why not to believe it. Then I think
Yeah.
you believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to believe something when there's no reason not to believe something. Yeah, I think beliefs are very easily adopted. Um, once there is like sufficient proof, uh, enough case studies, that kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fundamental thing is we look at beliefs as developed through two ways. That's how I think about it, because the nature of my job, even before doing marketing, was actually I was teaching kids. I was teaching kids at super camp, so I think you might even find this interesting also, because the nature is the kids would come in and they would believe certain things about themselves that were not very healthy. For example, I'm stupid, I'm a problem child, nobody loves me, etc. And what we attempt to do over the 7 days is to help them shift these beliefs. So I have some ideas on beliefs shifting that might really even expand your entire method. The first key is we believe the first understanding about beliefs is there's no concrete belief. There's no such thing as true or false. Everybody's belief is unique and individual. So the moment we understand that, we realize that there is no right or wrong. It doesn't make sense. Some people believe that marriage is fundamentally restrictive. Some people believe that marriage is liberating. Some people believe that marriage vows should be upheld. Some people believe that marriage vows are, as long as I stay happy with this person, then fuck it, then I'll stay. Otherwise, I can leave. You've seen who is right. The fundamental truth is everybody's right according to your own fucking theory. We can all argue accordingly, right? So we believe that first of all is flexible. Second of all, we realize that most beliefs are never adopted by the person themselves unless they've gone through some process of what I call individuation, which means they actually sat down and then they actually really thought through the beliefs. Now, when people actually think through the beliefs and they come to it through either a transformational experience, right? Let's say, for example, your near-death people, right? They had a experience is so deep rooted within them, they're unlikely to shake their belief because maybe they saw a light, they saw Jesus, they saw Allah, what the fuck they saw. And that experience is so anchored within them, they might not want to shift the belief. That's first key. Number
Yeah.
two is so they have individuation where they actually like think through the belief. Or else they have a process of maturity where they have that certainty, right? People who have
Mm.
that high level of certainty, their belief is not easily shaken. However, most people's beliefs, and this is the ethical part, I really need to emphasize this more. The ethical part is most people's beliefs are built on very weak foundations, and therefore can be easily shifted. This is like the mind control cult movement thing. And very important to use it ethically, right? Because otherwise you just end up running a cult, and that's not very good. But most people's beliefs have no foundation. For example, if your parents tell you, and that's all you've been just it's very surface, right?
Yeah.
Because the moment you hear something that's more persuasive than what your parents tell you, then you're easily about to shift your belief.
Yeah.
If you look at society, that's mainstream, right? You just do it because everyone else is doing it. It's kind of like social norm, but you don't have a real attachment to the belief, right? So the moment the norm changes, then things change. So in these cases, these beliefs are very weak, right? So all that happens, and how do you then shift it? The moment that you find a person, right, who might have a set of beliefs that they have no real emotional attachment to. They only do it because they are told to do it. And most of the time, when you're told to do something without a strong belief in something, your emotional happiness and even loyalty to the belief is not particularly high. So you're just
Mm.
existing and you don't feel very, very happy. And then that's when a person comes along and helps you, most importantly, understand the world in a different way, right? Usually
Yeah.
it's a religious leader, it's a mentor, it's somebody that comes in, right? They come in and help you redefine and understand the world in a different way. So you always saw the same pieces, and because everyone told you you had a belief to that. Suddenly this person help you reinterpret these pieces in a completely different way. And if
Yeah.
they provide you with a transformational experience, an aha moment, and this time you attach yourself to that believer, that is when you start to convert. Does that kind of make sense? Do you get what I'm saying? So watch,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I never, let's say for example, I never believed in Jesus, right? I always thought I just fuck it, just make my money and live life, right? And then I hit a problem in my life, right? So I'm now open, and my existing beliefs don't help me. So now my life is shit, right? And all of a sudden I have a church elder that comes. And the church elder, because I have a problem, right? The church elder says, Mel, do you know that the reason your life is suffering is because you have always adopted this way? And this way is not working now. This is a basic problem, right? Is it okay if I share with you a way of viewing the world through the lens of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Then you're like, yes. And then all of a sudden he explains the world through an entire different lens. And let's say this lens all of a sudden hits me and I'm like, oh my God, I never once saw it. Do you see it? The
Yeah.
reinterpretation of reality and that transformational experience helps people convert to a certain belief.
Mm.
And I think the transformational experience, and of course, I think it's relevant of how we can think of how we can create this in marketing, is what is needed. So shifting reinterpretation of reality combined with a transformational experience equals a new reality. So this is why
Yeah.
Tony has people walk on fire.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, however, the challenge becomes how do you do that in marketing? Tony has real work on fire, right? All these personal development programs has people break boards or maybe jumped off cliffs or in some cases embrace a phobia they had before. Now, the fact that they managed to overcome the phobia, right, breaks their attachment to their old norm. And suddenly they realize, oh my God, if I can overcome this phobia, if I can jump off a high thing where I was previously scared, if I can now bust the board, which I never thought I could, if I can bend an arrow with my neck, if I walk on fire, then maybe my old belief is wrong, right? I never thought it was possible, but I can do it. Then all of a sudden, my old belief is wrong. I need to adopt this brand new belief. So you attach both a high impact emotional transformation experience together with a
Mm.
brand new reinterpretation of reality. I think that is when people shift their beliefs. I think you can shift a belief through several ways now that you're on this topic. I think the first way is you can help people expand the perspective of the problem, which I think is what you do. You always thought this was a problem, but actually you never knew it was a much
Yeah.
bigger problem. Does it make sense? So
Yeah.
expand it. Number two, you can let them know that they are looking at the wrong thing. You always thought he was the suspect, but actually he is the suspect, and that kind of thing, right? So it's either incomplete, which means it's small. It's either the wrong thing that they are looking at, or maybe they don't even have a problem, or maybe they have a much deeper problem than they have before. It's really shifting the lens by which they view it, and really convincing them that your lens of viewing it is the key. The moment you do that, then everything else. No, because the moment they buy the concept, then they buy a product. I think that's
Yeah.
the thing
Yeah.
that you kind of realize. So you mentioned something very interesting just now, is when you tell people, like, for example, digital courses are not as powerful as, let's say, live coaching, right? If I can convince you, this is still a concept, right? If I can convince you that live coaching is better than digital courses, then I can sell you a whole bunch of live
Yeah.
coaching. I think that one is really critical. I think there are some markets where this works very well. Financial places work very well, because I mean, we can argue that whether a stock is hot or not depends on what lens you look at it, right? That's true. Health is the big one, right? You can really do, Tate, the reason you're not building muscle right now is not because you lack protein, it's because you lack vitamin C. Then we can go down the entire route, right? Then we can start sending you fucking vitamin C. This is what I first encountered all of these methods when we were doing health copywriting. I didn't do it,
Okay.
but I had a coach last time who was doing health copywriting. And basically, he was the one that taught me. He had a similar name for this, where it was called false cause, true cause, whereby most people believe that this is the real reason, but then actually there's another reason that leads to it, which I think is very similar. So, could you walk people through some of the case studies by which you have used this to actually generate some like results to the best of your ability to share? I'm quite sure some of these people are not entirely want their entire marketing up online. So to the best of your ability, what are some of these key elements been?
Okay. So I will share a few examples. So you can basically use this in, I think, pretty much anywhere, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a 2-day class pitch, or whichever, right? It can also be a one-on-one call. So I did this little tweak for one of my clients. So one of the way that we used it. So I think for most investors right now, I think a lot of them have been like the belief systems is, I think that 15 to 20% returns is pretty high, or something that I should achieve, or something that at least I should be doing, right? So that's like, I think, a very strong belief, because in at least in Singapore, Malaysia, like value investing is the thing. So we went into the market and told them, hey, you shouldn't be looking at this, because based on Warren Buffett's results, the reason why he's hitting this kind of 15-20%, because he's managing 58 billion worth of cash, of capital, right? If you do not have 58 billion worth of cash, you should not be achieving this kind of returns. Then we show the example of back in was 2030s. He had a smaller 7-figure portfolios, multiple 7 figures. He was hitting 50-80% ROI. That means if you are following Warren Buffett, you should not be making 15-20. You should be making way more. So that's one shift of belief systems that we use, which help to convert better on the webinar itself. So that's one. And another one, which is not so much of the topic, which is the one that I had helped for my client in Malaysia. So Malaysia's case is a bit unique due to its geographical reasons. So in Malaysia, I think a lot of the unspoken problem that people face, right, was, pre-COVID, a lot of them travel to Singapore to work, to send money back to their families because of the currency, right? So that was an unspoken problem. Everybody had to travel across the bridge, crossroad every day. Come back late at night. Either they don't come back at all in a week, or whether they come back only once a month. So that was the unspoken problem. So I helped my client fix his pitch, basically to at least bring up this belief system that people in Malaysia, right, you shouldn't be focusing on just making more money. You should be focusing. You should not be focusing on just making more, like Sing dollars, that kind of things. You don't have to do that. You can actually make money with USD through the stock market, and you don't have to spend hours traveling. You don't have to leave your family. They don't have to, all these hardships. And then we present the offer, which is investing program. So there's a somewhat shifts in belief systems once they understand it, once they believe it that actually this is possible. Then yeah, this is basically how I help my client hit 1 mil in a few weeks.
Awesome,
So
awesome. I think this is really good. I'm just guys, could all of you type inside the chat here, right? Just concept over product. I think the one thing and the big value we have in this conversation here today is we go meta, right? Because a lot of people come to you and come to myself, and the one thing they want to do is, Mel, I want to sell my product and service, and a lot of the time they're obsessed with just marketing their shit. What they don't understand is long before they market their thing, they actually market a concept. All right, they market an idea. They market a concept. If I don't buy into your idea, I'm not going to buy into your product, because your product is a vehicle of the idea, right? So the real truth is we sell our idea long before we sell our product, right? And however, no one has, in most markets, most will already have an idea of what is right or wrong. So a chief thing that we have to do as marketers really is belief changes, is helping people redefine and really adjust their beliefs so that it is aligned correctly. I think the second thing that we want to talk about, and I want to ask you also, is a good deal of proof, right? A good deal of proof. A lot of people think about proof and testimonials from a very micro standpoint. The micro standpoint you think of is, I just want to prove that my product works. But I believe
yeah,
that proof should be extended above different things. Proof should be extended to proof of proof of the concept, right? The
yeah,
concept that whatever you are teaching is correct. So I give you an example. An example would be, let's say, investing, right? So investing is a concept. If I happen to not believe that investing works, because when we're brought up, depending on what household you're in, maybe your parents told you investing is not the way to go. Saving was a concept you were brought up with, right? So before I can tell you an investing class, I'll need to let you know that number one, your belief is wrong, right? And number two, there is a much better and more adequate belief. The next level, or this is some dangerous shit, right? Is to even go even one step better and to tell you why the person who gave you the original belief was wrong. that is some next level shit right there. Really, really. Like
yeah,
so if you're able to do that, so you look at the person and they tell you, investing is dangerous, investing is bad, and you let them know. Well, let me help you understand how you came up with the belief and why. So you probably got it from your parents. Let me tell you why your parents thought this way. Because
yeah. I think to add on, right?
yeah,
So I think like for people with existing beliefs, I think it's before you share with them or impose your own beliefs on them, it's important to kind of like tear their existing beliefs down
yeah,
with proof, of course, with proof.
yeah.
If not, if you just impose your own idea without without explaining what's wrong with the existing belief, then they probably will not be will not be so receptive to the new idea. Yeah,
And I
which is
think
what you think.
you're actually right. And I think the way to really do so, to readjust their beliefs, is to do so. There are different tactful ways to do it, right? Where appropriate and where your story matches, you can do the mirroring one, which is, I
Yeah,
used to have that belief, right? The reason you thought this way is probably because from your parents, right? Don't worry, I also came from the same place. I think you see this all the time in network marketing. This is they are the best at doing this. Well, are you struggling? I used to struggle too, until I found fill in the blank with whatever fucking opportunity, right? So I think that's it. Someone asked, hold on, let's refresh the stream right here. Hold on, someone asked a very good question. How do you break down somebody's pre-existing beliefs without descending into a debate? Well, first of all, Clarence, that is fantastic. I think the first thing you want to do is, and I can have Ted answer. So I think the first thing you want to do is realize first and foremost they're entitled to their beliefs, and they probably have developed their beliefs based on stories, experiences that happened to them, or stories, experiences that were told to them. So the one thing that causes great irritation to people is when you try to attack their beliefs, right? Now, the first way I would do so is I would never think of breaking down their beliefs. I would think of expanding their belief. Hey, man, you are valid in that point, but have you ever considered this perspective, right? Where I provide elements where they might not have seen and considered before, right? And I also disprove elements of their belief. Have you ever seen this that contradicts your belief, right? And I explain where appropriate that I used to have that belief and found it very incomplete, right? Until I had a different belief. So I'll ask them like is it okay I share with you an expanded or a slightly altered version one of that has generated some results in my life, right? So I think you see that Ted in church. Ted goes to church, right? It is
Yeah,
called
every
a
Sunday.
testimony. A long time ago, I never believed in Jesus. Then right now, I believe in Jesus, and everything is brought. See, that's a testimony, right? You see, the church doesn't sell. They sell a concept. It's called Christianity,
Yeah.
right? So, so they have to deal with a bunch of people. They have different beliefs, different religion, or maybe an atheist, and convert them to Christianity. So that's basically what the church does. The church doesn't sell an offering. It doesn't sell books, products, CDs, etc. The church sells a concept. That's fundamentally what the church does. And so, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on breaking down someone's pre-existing beliefs?
Yeah, I think it's similar to yours, but I think just to add on, I think it's important, yes, to do it in a very gentleman way, not in a very aggressive way. But I think one way to go about it is you have to explain, for example, like a flaw with their belief,
Yeah,
and of course with proof that to justify your claims, and I think to do it like elegantly, it's more of, instead of like looking at it as like tearing down the belief, it's more of like what you said, expanding on their
yeah,
belief, their perspectives. Uh, yeah, because I think because beliefs can be quite sensitive,
yeah. They are very
depending on what
sensitive. Yeah,
depending on what kind. Yeah. So if it's like education, I think that's fine. But if it's more
yeah.
something like more sensitive, like I don't know, health, nationality, race, etc.,
Oh my
religion,
God, that I mean,
yeah, that's
geez.
dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, that is what basically the I mean people that storm the Capitol are about. They're storming it because they believe that Biden stands for something that is not patriotic, and Trump does. And there's other people that believe that Biden is definitely pro-America and America should not be a bunch of gangsters. So I mean, it's just like literally the turmoil we have these days is a believer. Does that kind of make
Yeah.
sense? It is insane. There are some people that believe that we should not wear masks because the fatality from COVID is very low. There are some people that say, "Oh, are you freaking crazy? Wear fucking masks. We're all gonna die." And so at the end of the day, it's just like, whew, and we're touching on something very interesting here.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? I just want to ask. I hope we have provided some insights. Any other tips or tricks that you want to share with folks over here uh, in this regard, or any other
I think,
lessons that you have learned on this whole 1 year market,
yeah,
or less than 1 year actually, marketing journey?
yeah. I think the first thing to really approach this is you have to really understand your audience. Even though it sounds really cliche, very but I think it goes deeper into just understanding like the customers' problems, prospects' problems, etc. This part goes slightly deeper. You have to really understand, talk to them. What are their beliefs? If not, you can never have this kind of messaging,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So I think it's important to first, before you execute something like that, important to first identify what are some of their strong beliefs first. If not, you look pretty ridiculous, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one. I think apart from selling, using this to sell, I think it can also use this to get people to do stuff, to I don't. It can be executing on certain concepts. If in the coaching, you can get clients to do certain things. Uh, because this isn't just about selling. I think it's about going to extremes, going to different uh, to the ends of the earth to do something. So it's not just about selling. I think it's about just doing extreme things in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think absolutely. David, I think we'll take the final question here from Thomas. Thomas says, "How can this be applied in the property and financial advisory domain?" Absolutely, this is really easy. Everybody right now has a thought on what financial decisions and property means. Like we mentioned just now, some people might not have truly thought through that. In fact, most people are ignorant. I like to go in there and speak to people who might not have a very strong stance on their belief because they either heard it from the mainstream or heard it from their parents, and they just have that belief, but they don't back it with any kind of real certainty, right?
Yeah.
Like it's virtually impossible to convince me to go back to university because I've gone through a process of individuation where I concluded it's a fucking waste of time. However, there are some people that do it because their mother said so. They don't actually like it. They don't know why they're doing it. They just do it because everyone else does it. Those people are the easiest to convert, right? However, for me, it's like you're wasting your time because I already thought it through and I think it's a gigantic waste of fucking time. I'm quite sure I could be persuaded, but the amount of effort is probably not worth the time. So I think that's key. So Thomas, first of all, find the right people that probably want to get ahead, but hold on to some beliefs that might not be very suitable. The one thing you need to do is you truly need to be what I call a financial advisor. So Ted, you realize a lot of people are financial advisors in name, but truly all they are financial salespeople, right? They all want to go in there and pitch their product, but they don't understand they need to go meta first, whereby they need to sell the concept and convince people, for example, why they should do insurance. It's quite hard to sell your AIA policy if people don't even believe in insurance, right? They believe having money is the biggest insurance, money in a fixed deposit, right? If they believe that, you can forget about your AIA pitch. So I think a good 80%, right, Ted? Would that be fair? A good 80% is spent selling the concept, right? Maybe why insurance? What insurance is really, really important? How this really affects you? What happens when you don't have that, right? And really providing the proof and stories to really back up this concept. The moment they buy into that, it really accelerates the sale. Would you say so?
Yeah, I think just add on to that. So I think having this concept in mind, right? That means if let's say your prospect doesn't believe in your concept or ideology, whether I mean if you pitch your product or your service, if he doesn't believe, then 100% for sure it will not sell. That means like you have to spend a considerable amount of time to convince him first with proper stories, proofs, etc. Once he believes it first, then you can proceed with the pitch. Yeah,
Yeah.
that means I think a lot of your time and effort have to be spent on fine tuning that early convo of
80%, I
converting to
think
belief.
should be. I think a good, in my opinion, I would say a good 20% at the start should be eliciting beliefs first, right? Because you can't convert what you're not aware of. So the first key is you want to convert it, right? to identify it, right? So a sale, you spend some time at the start really understanding what they believe in right now, etc. How they even believed it, right? And then afterwards, I think is then providing your expanded or changed perspective on the belief, making sure they understand the concept, etc. Then afterwards, moving therefore into your offer in terms of what policy and blah 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 and this kind of stuff. I think if you do that, then you'll be a lot more successful. Okay, so just really reallocation of time, because most people that go in there fucking boo in the China shop just going, all right, so let me tell you how great AIA is as a company. All right, so basically AIA is such a fucking good company. This policy is the best, and then meanwhile this person's like, what is insurance? Then we're like, oh, fuck, is insurance even necessary? Then we're like, oh no, this is not going well. Okay,
Yeah.
so Ted, any last words here as we wrap up? I think we have had a good length of time. Do we need to convince every prospect to our beliefs or to use it as a filter for who is the right fit for us? Well, I would filter. So these are my thoughts first. Ted, you can provide your opinion. I will always filter first. There's a difference between desire and concept. I much rather a person with a high desire to change, but probably with rubbish filters right now, versus a person with who believes in the concept but doesn't really have a high desire. Does that make any sense? So let's say right now, right, I believe that I should save my money, right? And I have a very loose attitude to my belief. And maybe it's not working so well for me, but I have a high desire for change, right? I rather that person versus another person who, let's say, believes in value investing, but basically he doesn't give a fuck about want to improve his life. What's your thought, Ted? I think desire beats belief alignment first. Because I can change a person they have a belief, but I cannot spark desire if they are a loser. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think creating desire is one of the toughest thing. I think I read this in breakthrough advertising. It is almost impossible to create desire. The desire has to be there first before you sell a product or a service. Yeah, I think I agree with you that this person has to have the desire before he sells something. Even so, even if you manage to convince him for some reason and he buys it, then he will not be a good customer.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
a lot of trouble
Yeah.
at the back.
Yeah, so I mean, at X Factor on day three, David Joseph asked a question. Joseph has taken X Factor before. I always talk about desire, concept, and then finally offer. So I always want to address, first of all, a person with a high desire, right? Literally, the kind of people I take in are people that have a high desire. I think there's a famous Chinese saying, right? You can bring a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. You know, if the horse is full and hates water, likes to drink Coke, then fuck it. Then I'm not even taking the horse to the goddamn water, because the water, the horse has no desire. So I really look for desire. I think it's good that Ted is on the same page. So Ted, any thoughts before we wrap the fuck up over here for all these people watching? They're watching slightly dark persuasion. Any thoughts? Final words for people
Yeah.
watching.
I think just understanding this concept and most importantly executing it will bring you a lot of results, a lot of money as well. And I think I want to emphasize the point of using it ethically,
Yeah.
because I think these concepts are used like what you say in cults, religions, movements, that kind of thing, and it's possible to have a great impact in whatever beliefs you try to impose on someone. That's why I think it's important to use it ethically. Yeah. But I think all these from my experience, I think when I try to help my clients implement this, it takes a bit of practice. It takes a bit of practice. And most importantly is, yeah, I would say you're still going back to really understanding like your customers, and also you have to be clear of like your religion, your beliefs. Because a lot of times your product, right, your product is to the offer owner, it sounds like, oh, it's just another course or copywriting course, investing course. And it will be helpful for you to first identify your religion first, or your beliefs first, because a lot of times I consult my clients, they don't know what their religion is. I have to find it for them.
Yeah.
I have to find it for
Yeah.
them. So
The
I
big
think start
idea
with that first.
behind their product, just every product has a big idea behind it. Even whey
Yeah.
protein, let's say for example the one that people drink, there's an idea. The idea behind is that protein is the one thing that's needed for muscles to
Yeah.
grow. That would be the religion. You know, some people believe maybe carbohydrates are the way to go. Then I would therefore have to convince them that protein is the way to go before I can sell my whey protein. So yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
For everyone watching, could you join me and thank Ted over here, right here? Thank Ted. Let him know that he has done a great job, man. The guy is 24 years old. God damn, making 5 figures. It's probably more money than his father and his mother combined. Your parents are not watching, but is it true? Yes, sir.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
You have no idea. Fuck lah. I'm quite sure it's true. Quite sure. I bet your parents wish they were digital marketers last time. Okay, cool. Okay, can put it in, guys. Help me thank Ted. Let us know also if you like this series. You know, let me know if you like this series. There are a lot of Ted. Would you say we have a lot of smart people in X Factor? Yes, no.
Oh yes, a lot.
Yes, we have a lot of smart people in X Factor. So they have no idea why. I was in the cab just now, and I thought, you know, it would be kind of fun if we regularly, every 1 or 2 weeks, drag some of the smart people up here and just get them to share some of their ideas with everybody, and hopefully this helps you to succeed in this very chaotic times. Okay, Ted, Mel, signing off. We love you guys. Take care. Bye bye.